Hi there, my name is Marisa and I write the blog Food in Jars. It is a blog about canning and making things at home that you would normally buy at the grocery store, like pickles. Today we're going to make pickled carrots and daikon. It's sort of a sweet, tangy pickle. It goes great with a number of stuff and it's super easy. So we're going to start by coming over here and getting our brine cooking. And I just have a medium saucepan. And I'm going to start with some plain old white vinegar that I already measured it out. It's about a cup and a half. And to that we're going to add the same amount of filtered water. So you never want to dilute vinegar when you're making pickles more than half. So for instance, we could have added a little less water to the vinegar, but we wouldn't want to add more than the amount of vinegar that's in there. Otherwise it's not going to be safe for shelf storage. To that I'm going to add some sugar, about 3/4 of a cup. Now to our vinegar, water, and sugar concoction we're going to add 3 tablespoons of coriander seeds, our mustard seeds, and just 2 teaspoons of these guys. They're pretty potent. These are what are in grainy mustard, so in they go. They give it a nice kick. And salt is always an important part of pickling because it acts as a preservative. So in that goes 2 tablespoons. Next go in half a teaspoon of our red chili flakes, a teaspoon and a half of powdered ginger. Make sure to stir your brine as it's heating up to ensure that the sugar and salt dissolve. So I've got 1 enormous daikon radish, and I've got 4 kind of short squat carrots. And then I'm going to take a mandolin, which is this guy, and then just start making thin slices. So next up are our carrots. Conveniently, our brine is simmering away. This is a pickle that we call a hot pack pickle, in which we put the vegetable in the brine to let it get hot, and then we put it in the jars. And one of the nice things about doing it this way is that you get more in the jar, because the little bit of heat gives it a chance to kind of shrink a tiniest bit, so you get more product in your jar, which I like. Just going to mash it around a little bit. Come over here and pull our canning pot out, which is where the jars are getting hot, so that when we add the vegetables in the hot brine, then the jars won't break, and then also they'll be sterile. So I'm going to use the tongs to grab the vegetables. Alright, now that all of our veggies are in the jars, we're going to start adding the brine. Now that we've got all the vegetables and brine in the jars, we've got to bubble the jars, which is essentially the process where we poke something, and I use this nice long rubber scraper in there to work any air bubbles that are in there out, so that we can make sure that the level of vegetable to brine is correct. After we've bubbled, you can see that the brine level in this first jar is a little low, and I want all the vegetable to be covered. So now I'm going to wipe the rims of the jars just to make sure there's no stickiness or anything on there, so that we don't get in the way of preventing a good seal once we put the jars in the hot water. There's a sealing compound in the rim of the lid, and it needs to be softened in order to get a nice tight seal on the jar when we put it in the boiling water. So now I'm going to come over here to our canning pot. You can just reach right in and drop your jars in. So there they go. And now we're just going to listen to this closely, and as soon as we hear it really coming to a vigorous boil, which it sounds like it already is, we're going to set a timer for 5 minutes. And once the 5 minutes are up, we take them out and they're done. Reach in and pull one of these off. And that hissing sound you hear, that's the air escaping, and that's what's causing it to seal. We just let them sit and cool until they're, until they're cool enough to touch. And then you can tuck them in a cabinet or put them in your pantry, or you can just eat them all up. That's it. That's the pickled carrot and daikon.